And in this corner, the tariff. Folks, gather round. It seems we've got ourselves another trade war brewing. Our old pal Donald Trump is back at it, throwing tariff punches like it's a pay-per-view event we never asked for. On April 7th, 2025, he announced a whopping 34% tariff on Chinese goods. Yes, you heard that right, 34%. Now you might be thinking, John, why is he doing this? Did someone eat the last Egg McMuffin at his country club buffet? Well, according to Trump, it's all about fair trade and punishing China for things like illegal subsidies and currency manipulation. You know, the classics. But here's the kicker, folks. This 34% tariff is just the opening act. Trump has threatened to slap another 50% on top of that if China doesn't back down. That's right, a potential 87.5% tariff. Someone get this man a Snickers, because his economic policy is starting to sound a little hangry. To top it all off, Trump is also hinting at ending talks with China altogether and cozying up to Vietnam and South Korea instead. It's like watching a geopolitical game of musical chairs, except the music is a constant loop of "You're the one that I want" from Greece, which, let's be honest, is just cruel and unusual punishment. The art of the trade deal or not. Now, I'm no economist, folks. My area of expertise lies more in dissecting the mating rituals of dung beetles. But even I can tell you that slapping massive tariffs on goods from a country we do over $582 billion worth of trade with is a bold move, like trying to parallel park a school bus in a phone booth bold. See, this whole trade war thing isn't exactly new territory for Trump. Remember back in 2018 when he first decided to tango with tariffs? Good times, good times. Except not really. Turns out those tariffs didn't exactly make America great again. In fact, they ended up costing American businesses billions of dollars and driving up prices for consumers. But hey, who needs history lessons when you can just repeat the same mistakes over and over again, right? It's like watching a toddler repeatedly stick a fork in an electrical socket. You want to stop them, but part of you is morbidly curious to see what happens next. Remember that time we tried this before? Let's rewind the clock back to the halcyon days of 2018, shall we? Trump, in all his wisdom, decided to launch a trade war with China, slapping tariffs on billions of dollars worth of goods. The idea, we were told, was to protect American jobs and force China to play fair. Spoiler alert, it didn't quite work out that way. Instead, American businesses and consumers got caught in the crossfire. Prices for everything from washing machines to soybeans shot up. Farmers, many of whom rely heavily on exporting their goods to China, were hit particularly hard. Remember those bailouts? Yeah, those were fun. And what did we get in return for all this economic pain? Not a whole lot, if we're being honest. Sure, China eventually agreed to buy more American goods, but they also retaliated with tariffs of their own, hurting American businesses even more. It was like a game of economic chicken, except both sides ended up losing. Okay, enough about the past. Let's talk about the here and now. What does this new round of tariffs mean for your wallet? Well, if you're a fan of affordable electronics, clothing, or pretty much anything else made in China, I've got some bad news. Remember that new phone you were saving up for? Yeah, it's probably going to get a lot more expensive. Those trendy sneakers, price hike, that car part you need to keep your 1998 Honda Civic running, say goodbye to your grocery budget. And it's not just individual consumers who are going to feel the pinch. Businesses that rely on imported goods from China are going to be hit hard too. That means higher prices for consumers, potential job losses, and a whole lot of economic uncertainty. Fun times. As you can imagine, this whole tariff tussle has got people talking. Or, screaming into the void that is social media. Over on X, because apparently we're still calling it that, the reactions have been mixed, to say the least. Some folks are all for it, praising Trump for standing up to China and putting America first. They're throwing around phrases like economic patriotism and winning like they're confetti at a ticker tape parade. Others, however, are less than thrilled. They're calling Trump's bluff, pointing out that these tariffs are nothing more than a tax hike on American consumers and businesses. They're using words like reckless, irresponsible, and economic suicide. One particularly astute X-user at Doom-Scrolling Dan put it best, "I'm just trying to afford avocado toast and healthcare, and now I have to worry about a trade war? This timeline sucks." So, what's next in this high-stakes game of economic chicken? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? As of right now, the ball is in China's court. They have until April 8th to back down and retract their own tariffs, or else face the wrath of Trump's additional 50%. Will they cave? Will Trump actually follow through on his threat? Will someone finally introduce these two world leaders to the concept of compromise? Stay tuned, folks, because this is one reality show where the stakes couldn't be higher. Experts are divided on what the future holds. Some predict a full-blown trade war with both sides digging in their heels and refusing to back down. Others are more optimistic, believing that cooler heads will eventually prevail and a deal will be reached. One thing's for sure. This trade war is already having a ripple effect across the global economy. From the stock market to the price of your morning coffee, the impact of this economic showdown is being felt far and wide. Well, folks, there you have it. The latest installment in the ongoing saga of Trump's tariff tussle. It's a story filled with economic uncertainty, political posturing, and enough plot twists to make your head spin. Whether you're a seasoned economist or just a regular person trying to make sense of it all, one thing's for certain. This trade war is going to have a real impact on our lives. So buckle up, Buttercup, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go stock up on ramen noodles and canned goods. Just in case this whole thing goes sideways and we end up bartering for essential goods like it's the apocalypse. Because, let's be honest, at this point, would you really be surprised?